By the way, I'm hoping this will be more of a discussion rather than a lecture, because at the end of the day, this is for you. By the way, I still cannot connect because those hosts have stopped it. So would you please let me know, Nicole, when you can, because we've got to make sure the video is working. So we want to really make sure that you guys share your thoughts and ideas while we have this conversation. Now, just a quick introduction of myself. I've been managing, driving sales, managing teams of sales, and building sales teams across the globe for about 25 years. What my company does, we deliver exponential sales, pipeline, and revenue growth at leading companies in APAC by transforming sales and customer success teams. And I've written a couple of books, and I'm working on my third one. The first book you see on the left side is Winning Formula, is high impact prospecting for executives. And the book on the right is Winning with Social Selling, is all about leveraging social media in sales and business. Really, these both topics are very relevant to what we're talking about today, and we'll get back to that. We'll get to that shortly. All right. Now, what I want to talk about really after we're, what we want to really talk about is about sales and salespeople. The last couple of months, 2 or 3 months, has been brutal. Okay, we can start a video now. Cool. We have video? I'm clicking yes. Woohoo! We got video. Awesome. Hey, sorry guys. I'm sure you couldn't do without seeing this pretty face. So let's talk about this, about sales. Thank you, Nicole. We've had a very tough time last couple of months. It's been very tough. All those basically, look, all those sales meetings, conferences, trade shows, marketing events, they've all been canceled. All your meetings canceled. Opportunities are stalled. And of course, you're chasing current customers to pay their bills, right? So this has completely changed the way we've been working. And the question is really what to do. I'm talking to a lot of clients every day. And because I'm coaching a bunch of, at least 24 companies right now around how to deal with this and how to actually transform the team to be able to leverage the time right now. And everybody's having a lot of difficulty. And at this point, I'd like to ask you guys to please share with me, just to get a better idea, who do we have on this call. What I would really ask you to do, to please answer a very simple question. Please just do me a favor and just type in yes or no to this question. The question is, are you going to meet your revenue target for this year? Click yes, type in yes or no in the chat box. I'll just give you guys a few seconds, give it 10 seconds. And please, I'm not looking at that screen, so I appreciate if one of you guys, either Nicole or Sammy, give me a feedback. Oh, well, I see something. He said, lots of no's. That's terrible. Well, you came to the right place. Oh, somebody said yes. What are you selling? Is that drugs, pharmaceuticals, PPEs, toilet paper? Those things seem to be doing well. Okay, I see online course. Okay, good. I see some good stuff. Definitely, I see mostly no's. And well, that sounds like you came to the right place. Hopefully this will get some good takeaways from this. Absolutely right. It's revenues are down for most companies. It's definitely tough out there. And we're going to talk about what we're going to do. Anytime you have kind of crisis like this, anytime you have a crisis, what you want to do, everybody's looking for is for clarity. You want to get more clarity about what's happening, what's going to happen next. And for the past couple of months, I've been looking at, especially recently, I've been looking at many models and scenarios that have been developed, a lot of them by big companies or consulting groups and economists and governments, to show what can we expect for the coming months and years. And it's interesting, I'm going to share with you one of the more optimistic, this is the most optimistic view I've seen, the scenario about what's going to happen to the economy, right? It's interesting, you see, on the chart here, you see 2 lines. I hope you can see this. The top of this line, x-axis, you got new cases. This is new cases of COVID-19. And the bottom section, the green line, is the GDP loss, or basically, commercial economic activities. as the idea, of course, is as the number of cases drop, the blue line goes down, the level of activities, economic activities increases, right? And this is the most optimistic one I've found. This is by Deloitte, I believe, that put this out. You can see, actually, the good thing is it will eventually come down, but the sad news is, maybe for some people, is that the earliest we can see some kind of normality, nothing like what we had last year, even close to being normal, is toward the end of this year. So that's another 6 months from now, right? That's the best case scenario. I've seen a bunch of other cases. The worst case scenario is looking at like 2023, which by then I think every economy is devastated. So I can't imagine how that one works. But the point is, on the most optimistic view, we've still got 6 more months to go. We've already been through this for about 2 or 3 months. You add 6 months, that's 9 months. The reality is most businesses cannot survive in this environment for that long. I just don't know. Based on my experience, even big companies, even some of the biggest, most employee-friendly and very, very social responsible companies, they're only giving, like, for example, they're saying 90 days guarantee that we don't lay off anybody. They only go 90 days at a time because you don't know what's going to happen. So the bottom line is, this is a crisis and it's happening, and we can't just sit aside and wait for it to blow over. That's one of the messages I want to get out there. And next is, next thing I want to talk about is like having this, looking at this thing, the last thing you want to do is panic. Because when you panic, you know, your anxieties and stress causes you to make decisions that may not be the best decision. I wrote an article actually about a month ago, and you can look it up in my LinkedIn profile. And the title was, Don't Panic, Pivot. Times like this, what you want to do instead of panicking, you got to really look at the most successful companies, and I'll share you some examples later. What they manage to do is to pivot and make a complete change their business model, change the way they do things, change their, more importantly, change their mindset, and therefore change their behavior to achieve the desired outcome, okay? Now, as an example, you know, to show you some sign of hope here, is I want to share with you, we've had some economic downturns in recent history, and I want to share 2 examples. What you see here on the left side, you see the Dow Jones, that's the New York stock market. What happened to it when the September 11, 2001 terrorist attack happened in New York? As you see, the stock market just went off the cliff, just dropped, 0 within a day. But what happens, as you can see, over the next few months, it recovered, right? It came back up and recovered completely and went much higher, of course. And what you see on the right is actually one that probably all of you guys remember. I remember was selling very expensive solutions at that time, and all my customers stopped answering my calls suddenly. When the financial crisis happened in 2008, basically, as you can see, the GDP went negative. I mean, consumption went negative. But again, within a few months, it started to come back up. And definitely what we're experiencing now is more drastic than this. But the point is, you know, all crises are temporary. And this is another crisis that we will get out of it. But the important thing to remember, you can make this crisis permanent based on your attitude and action, right? That's what you can control. One important thing to keep in mind, but I've been doing a lot of consulting with companies for years, and you know, when it comes to a situation of facing new challenges, what you always want to keep in mind, you got to look at what is it that you do have control over, what is it that you don't, right? You have no control over what the pandemic is going to do, but you can have control over what you can do, and you got to focus on what you can do. And I want to share with you now really the 3 pillars of success that you have control over. Now, here I'd like to stop and ask our dear friends, Nicole or Sammy, anybody, questions, thoughts, any comments that you wanted to elaborate on? Are you guys watching the chat line and Q&A line?
So far, there's no any questions. You may carry on your presentation first.
Oh my God, thank you. I guess I'm answering every question ahead of time. That's cool. Okay. So please, again, if you have any questions, by the way, if you have any questions regarding business, sales, the driving revenue, the pipeline, you put in your question. I'll promise you I will get an answer to you within the 24 to 48 hours. As long as I know who you are, you have your email or something, I can reach out to you. So just ask any question you have, all right? I want to talk about 3 pillars of success that you control. Those pillars of success is your attitude, your behavior, and your technique, okay? Now, I want to really focus on the first 2, attitude and behavior, because that is really the key here, right? Because if you don't have the right attitude, your behavior will reflect your attitude, right? I'm sure all of you have seen people who have a bad attitude, and the attitude reflects that, and it doesn't matter how good you are, you're not going to succeed. I always say, you could have you could be the most skilled salesperson in the world. If you don't have the right attitude, you will not succeed, okay? And we want to talk about a little bit about attitude. And really, the important thing about attitude and your beliefs is that beliefs and attitudes are self-fulfilling, which means your beliefs and attitudes lead for you to read and judge situations a certain way. Based on that judgment, you take actions that will actually reinforce your beliefs. And then you say, see, I told you that's how the world is. Put it differently, for example, if you're a glass half full kind of person, which means you see things as a positive thing, you see challenges as opportunities. When you're faced with this challenge we're currently facing, you see that as an opportunity. And I'll talk about some examples later on. And that mindset, what it does, it makes you to take actions to take advantage of those opportunities. And that gives you the positive result. And that will reinforce that this is glass half full. Now, if you're a glass half empty kind of person, you basically look at the same situation and you completely different take on it. And you completely act differently. And will that give you the result that you will get? I'm going to give it more of a sales context. If every one of you guys, I'm not sure, by the way, how many people, just Nicole or somebody tell me, how many people are online? Just let me know, I don't know how many people. In a sales environment, if you, whoever you are, your owner, business owner, manager, sales, engineer, retail store owner, manager, if you wake up in the morning and you think to yourself, oh my God, the world is going to hell, nobody's in the right mind is going to buy anything from me now, what happens, that leads you to the judgment that this is a terrible time for me to try even sell anything. I can't find anybody to buy for me. And what that does, it leads you to take the action of saying, well, I think I better just sit and wait until whenever, which we just talked about. If you can wait a couple of years, I guess that'll be okay if you get enough, to survive. But that's not an option. Or if you're an employee or a salesperson in the company and the boss tells you, hey, go out there and make some revenue, we need some money. What are you going to do? You don't believe anybody's going to buy from you. So what are you going to do? You're going to send out a few emails. I've heard customers telling me, sales managers and owners telling me that salespeople are not calling, they're not reaching out to prospects and clients. They're just sending out WhatsApps and WeChats to the customers. If you just, if you don't believe it's going to work, so you're going to just send out some generic emails, bulk mail, you're going to a bunch of EDMs, you're going to, maybe send out a couple of messages to your colleagues and friends or ex-customers. Again, because you don't believe it's going to work, you're not going to do a good job at it. You're not going to write a good email. Well, it's not going to work anyways. Why should I put an effort into it? And guess what happens? You don't get the results that you expect. And therefore you say, see, I told you nobody's buying. You go to your boss, say, hey man, I sent out 100 emails. Nobody responded. Or I called 10 customers, they all say they don't want to buy, right? So that will feed on itself. So number one thing you got to do, step one, is you need to break this pattern. You must have the belief that there are customers out there, because there are customers out there. People are transacting, people are buying things, people are actually making decisions. But the question is where they are and how you can reach them a lot of times. I'm going to talk about that in a second. And the reason you have to do this, because really failure is not an option. It may be an option for you. I know it's not for me, because I have responsibilities to my family, I have responsibilities to my company, my employees, that I need to be out there to try to drive the goal and the visions that we had. So we have to continue to do that. So failure is not an option. If that's an option for you, I guess that's a different story. But if failure is not an option, then you must look at what you're going to do about it. Okay. Now, in times of crisis like this, one of the famous quotes that I like. This is from Winston Churchill, who led basically UK during the World War II. I assume some of you guys know the name. You know what he said? He said during the World War II, he said, if you're going through hell, just keep going, right? You don't want to sit there and take it. You want to keep going. Just continue, chug along, try and make sure you keep going, get past it, okay? And that's really one of the important messages. They need to take action. Now, at this point, I want to stop and ask you all another simple question. Please do me a favor, type in your chat box, I guess, is that, do you agree with this statement? It is very hard to sell right now. Just type in yes if you agree. If you don't agree, just type in no. Let me see what you got coming. Yes, 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 yes. Yes, lots of yes. Somebody said no. Okay. Okay. It depends. Well, that was a deep thinker. It said depends. Okay. All right, good. All right. I see you mostly yes. And that makes sense. There's absolutely no question. There are some challenges. Thank you all for actually responding. I really appreciate you guys giving some feedback. It's important to know what you guys say, and it's good to know there's somebody actually listening. So that's good. So thanks so much for that. Yeah, the answer is no. Definitely is yes. It seems a lot harder right now, and we'll talk about the 5 things you can do to hopefully make some changes there. Okay, I'll get to that shortly. Now, I have another question to ask you. You don't need to answer this one, but just think about this. Was there a time that selling was easy? If any of you guys have done sales before, had to sell anything to make a living, you know the answer to this. Selling has never been easy. Selling is never easy, okay? I mean, because I get really frustrated when I work with customers and the boss tells me, say, hey, look, we have the sales team, and they come back to me and say, oh, the customers are not buying, they're not answering, it's really tough out there. And so, look, when was it easy? I mean, I asked the question, so are you telling me 3 months ago before this crisis happened, did the customers call you? They say, hey, by the way, would you come by, pick up this PO, signed PO? And we have a check waiting for you. Can you come pick it up? We just don't want to have it sit here. Never happened in my life. I've been doing it for 25 years, sold anything from $10 thing to, $500,000 thing. It never, ever happens. Selling has never been easy, okay? So if, has it gotten harder? Absolutely. But it's not like suddenly things have gotten dramatically hard. Like it wasn't, as I said, 3 months ago, it wasn't people throwing money at you. And definitely it's not the case now. You still have to earn it. You still have to work for it, okay? Now, I want to talk a little bit about behaviors, changing your selling behaviors. The reality is, if you haven't figured out, I mean, everybody in the call probably has heard of the term digital transformation thing. Has been going around for the last 5 years. And many companies said, yeah, but yeah, we'll see what happens, right? What happened? Within 8 weeks, we all had to transform in a hurry. And guess what? For the most part, we did. We changed the way we live. We changed the way we go outside our house, the way we go to the park, the way we do anything. We changed within 8 weeks because you had to. And digital transformation only become, oh my God, we do have to have these things in place, infrastructure in place. Some behaviors we need to pause, I think, for a long time. These are the behaviors we need to pause. We can't go have networking events. Again, these are for business owners, salespeople, any business in person. You can't have personal visits. You don't have many marketing events. No traveling, no face-to-face meetings. These are activities, behaviors you have to pause. Now, these are the new behaviors, or you have to do a lot more of it now. It's video conferencing, social selling, cold calling, emailing, thought leadership, branding, webinars, online events. These are the new activities. I just had a call with a client for like an hour and a half earlier today. He was talking about the fact that, look, if the salesperson cannot grasp the concept that the world has changed right now, and you cannot blame it on anybody except the world has changed, you need to adjust to it, adapt to it, then you're not going to be having a job anytime soon, because this is not going to continue. Because the point is, you have to follow new behaviors. And with those behaviors, you need to develop techniques that makes you better at it, okay? And this is absolutely a great time for you to pick up some new skills. Now is a great opportunity to gain skills and basically, sharpen the saw, as they say, because there's tons of new free resources. Many companies offering free resources to get credited, to get certified. There's every country that I know, they have some incentive. Every country, governments are dumping trillions into the market so the economy keeps going. So they're giving all these incentives. I know in Singapore, they have billions of dollars dumped in with all these programs. We're trying to use some of those programs actually for our people. In fact, in the last 2 months, even though I'm writing my 3rd book, I took time to get a couple of certifications on programs that I wanted to do for a long time. And I didn't have time, but now I've managed to have time because I'm at home. I did that. Get certified in different things. Many of our clients that I'm working with, they said, oh yeah, they're putting their people through certifications. Since I work with a lot with tech companies, many of them like Microsoft, Oracle, SAP, these guys that have all these certifications, Cisco, Salesforce, all have these programs. So they're using them to actually get certified, the employees and the engineers, right? Pick an industry to learn more about. If you're working with a particular industry, this is a time for you to actually take it more seriously, to fine-tune your message, be more industry specific. Again, just a tip. Anybody who sells to a particular industry, and I'm sure if any salesperson is on the call or any manager on the call, I'm sure you heard the salesperson complain about, oh, they say our product's too expensive. The way to avoid that too expensive conversation is to show value. And you show value by knowing the customer's industry and speaking their language, okay? So pick an industry that you want to focus on and learn more about it. And again, please take the time to put in, share with us what certification you're doing, what steps are you taking to skill up yourself and make yourself more valuable for your future, for your career, for your life. Anybody wants to share, please type it in the chat. I'd love to see what you guys are doing, okay? Because I know many people are. And I'm sure many people, if you're on the call today, it means you actually care enough to get on the call. So I'm sure you're not the other 90% who's just going to sit and wait for this thing to blow over, okay? And so that's good to know. If you have any thoughts, please share with us, okay? Now, I'm going to talk about 5 steps. Let me just look at the time, see what the time situation is. All right. Learning WordPress. Oh, yeah, WordPress. Good. I'm going too old to learn that stuff, but I know. That's good stuff. Thanks for sharing. I want to talk about, let me stop right there. Nicole or Sammy, would you tell me if any thoughts, comments, anything you want to add? By all means, I'm all ears.
Yeah, there's a few questions.
Yep.
Yeah, so question 1 is, when I say yes to achieve to sales target this year, is because I wish to believe that we will survive. I strongly agree with you that your attitudes matter. But I also see that there are many people who are taking advantage of this pandemic to stop payments and also activities. Could you share some technique to convince buyers and also clients on why it matters even more than now to invest?
All right. Sorry, I didn't hear that question well, but I promise you I'll give a good answer later on and I'll post it, okay? Yeah, please, I'll look at it and I'll definitely answer it. That's an excellent point. I think what I heard is very relevant. And I hear that a lot from my clients that say, like, their customers are saying, oh, no, this is like a lockdown. I can't go to my office to give you a check and all those kind of things happening. And actually, one of the points you make in the 5 ways is going to be about that. So absolutely, thanks so much for that. Any other thing? Any other questions?
Yeah. There's 2 more questions here. What certification is useful for a salesperson?
Right. Good. We have one. Okay. I'll tell you more.
All right. So another one is, what are the best skills to learn currently?
Okay, good. I'll definitely get to those questions. Yeah, especially for sales. There are lots of programs you can take on sales to become more qualified. And don't start me with that. I'll talk for days on that one. But the point is, what I would always say to sales and any customer I work with, I said, first of all, there are some core skills everybody needs to have if they're in sales. If they have a function of sales, they want to be professional salespeople, not order takers. What a big differentiation is that about 80% of sales, what they call people that call themselves salespeople, they're not salespeople, they're order takers. The customers want something, to go and take the order. Okay, that's not a sales. Salesperson is somebody who actually creates an order, not just takes it. So there are some basic skills that helps you actually to create an order, and also even if you take an order, make sure it's the right order. Okay, so this is things like effective listening. These are very few, just want to name them. Very effective listening, very important. How to qualify an opportunity. I guarantee if anybody here in sales, I don't know which company you're at, or I have no idea which industry you're in, but I promise you, if you're a sales team or salesperson or sales organization, I'll bet you 75% of your pipeline is a garbage. It's not real, okay? Qualifying effectively is a big thing, that we actually have frameworks around how to do that. Another one, very important one is, again, customer questioning and discovery. How do you actually get the customer to tell you what you need to know? Okay, those are just very few that every salesperson needs to know. How to run an effective sales meeting. It seems like a no-brainer, but I guarantee you, 90% of salespeople don't know how to run an effective sales meeting with the customer to get what they need. So what happens? Salespeople have meetings after meeting after meeting because they didn't do it right the first time. So focusing on those, and there are a lot of things a lot of organizations offer. Is not just one, there are millions of places. If you guys, I'll definitely give you some free information if you want. Just send it. If I have your information, I'll send you free information. You can see it, read it, and learn from it. And we actually have online programs that actually what you see in the background. This is I don't know if you can see the whole thing. It's our virtual sales academy. Again, because I've been training and coaching people around virtual selling for 15 years. I've built dozens of teams, virtual sales teams across the globe. So we actually do that. We actually have a virtual program that for virtual sales, mastery program, you get certified in, core selling, especially virtual selling. I'll get to those questions absolutely if you don't get in that. Now, the 5 things that you need to do, there are 5 ways to sell your way out of this mess. Number 1 is what you need to do, revise your ideal client profile. Now, many of you guys may say, what the hell is our client profile? If you don't know that ideal client profile, I tell you, you need to first make one, okay? Ideal client profile is basically who's your best customer? Who is my best customer? Who do I target? Who should I target that's going to give me the most of what I want, be it money, profit, referral, good feeling, happy times, whatever it is. Who is my ideal client, best client that I could have? Because I'm sure if you've been in the business, there has been times you had clients that you did not want. Okay, that's not your ideal client. Finding your ideal client and what the profile is. The fact is, you have to revise that profile because guess what? The person who was your customer 2 months ago, 3 months ago, probably is not your customer now. And perhaps the person who wasn't your customer 3 months ago, it may be your customer now. So you need to revise and figure out, do a bit of a 1 or 2 hour discussion within your team, with yourself, whoever you have, to figure out who's my ideal client that I should go after. It's a funny thing is I'm consulting these companies for 2 months now, and I asked the customer, the owner of the company, and I say, hey, who's your ideal client? He gave me some very generic thing, somebody who has money or something. So, okay, that's pretty generic, but okay, have you revised that? Have you revised who's your ideal client now after this crisis? And he's like, he just didn't know what I was saying. I said, well, look, the times have changed. If you agree that the world has changed, then that means your customers may have changed too. So you need to figure that out. You need to find out who do you best serve now, okay? What are they currently doing, those customers that I should be going after right now? what are the key pain points they have right now? The pain points now is completely different. Any customers, I promise you, if you're selling to a customer, you have somebody in your sales pipeline from 3 months ago, I assure you the priorities have changed, right? Your priorities have changed, mine have changed, everybody's priorities have changed because of this COVID-19, right? It's not important to drive a nice car or buy, expensive stuff because you have to survive, right? You have to live, masks become more important than, makeup or for ladies or a mask become more important than looking cool, right? So that's a priority. So what are the indicators and what are the trigger events that makes them to buy? You need to have a bit of a think about this. This is very important to know who's my customer. If you don't know who's your customer, how can you possibly get them, right? You need to know that. We actually do a lot of workshops around this. We help companies to figure out their ideal client profile and help them put together a persona. Then once you have that, then you can have a much more specific messaging, marketing, sales pitch, everything for that person. If everybody's your customer, nobody's your customer, right? But if you know this is the person I'm after, then you can tailor all your messaging, everything around that, okay? Talking about the understanding your customer, ideal customer, figure out where you are your clients right now. Where is your client's mindset? I wrote this article about 3 weeks ago or something. It's on LinkedIn again, you can see it. The title was, Which Camp is Your Client In? What we found out in the last few months working with our customers, that any customer, anybody approach, including yourself, they'll fall in one of 3 categories, okay? And you can read the article, I don't want to go too deep into it, but the point is, any client you have right now, any prospect you have right now, they fall in one of these 3 camps. They're either survivalists, they went down the bomb shelter, they're going to wait for this thing to be over, they're not spending money, they're not talking to anybody, they're not doing anything until this thing is over, okay? Then there are those people who are progressives. They see this thing happening, they tighten their spending, but at the same time, they're still out there looking, how can we improve our business so when we come out of it, we're better, stronger. They may be revisiting their processes, their systems, the way they do operate, their business model. So they're looking, they're still talking, they may not take action now, they may not buy now, right? But again, please remember, important to remember, maybe this is not the time to be selling. It's a time to actually reach out and engage. It's not a time maybe for closing deals this next couple of months or 3 months or something, but definitely a great time for you to build your pipeline, build your message, and build the base for when you come out of it so they take action. And we actually coach companies on how to do that, how to do the messaging for that. So the progressive and they got the proactive. The third one, these are companies who actually see this as a great opportunity. And it has been a great opportunity for some companies. I'm working about 27 customers right now that I'm working with. And out of that, about 3 or 4 that are really fall into the category 3, where they say, look, my competitors are basically shying away from deals. I'm going to go out there and do my best to take ownership, get some business going, right? In fact, basically what happens is that, many companies are pulling back. I mean, the proactive camp, they may not be spending money or anything like crazy, but they're definitely willing to invest because they see the gain. Again, goes back to that mindset. They have a mindset that this is a great opportunity. Therefore, they're trying to maximize that. So definitely you want to find out. And we have done this with our clients. I've actually asked my clients one by one, where are you? Where is your mindset? What are activities you're doing? So based on this, then you can adjust your activities and your engagement. If it's a survivalist camp, how can I stay top of mind? How can I stay with you until this thing happens? We're going to have a conversation. That frees up your time so you can move on to other things. Go after the clients who are proactive or progressive. Have more conversation. Don't waste your time. I guarantee you, many of customers I am speaking with, they have a pipeline and they haven't revisited the pipeline. They think somehow these deals are going to close when nobody is spending money. So that gives you this exercise of doing this. Again, we coach people how to message this and how to ask their clients. Just doing this exercise will help you clean your pipeline and give you much more visibility. What's your business look like? And then what actions you have to take to go to the next level. You definitely want to do that. Now, that was number one about your client. Number two is become a pro at selling remotely, okay? You want to become a pro at selling remotely. Definitely, here's the thing. If you think in a few weeks when this lockdown is over, you can go out and start visiting customers, you'll be terribly wrong. Even after the liftoff, after lockdown is over, companies will have policies against people coming into the office, where to go. And I guarantee you, any customer you call after the lockdown is over, they're going to say, hey, man, we're busy for next 3 months, figure out what we're doing, so we don't want anybody to come in here, okay? So you got 6 to 9 months before you can actually really be open to visit customers, if nothing bad happens, if you don't have the surge again. Like, again, you have research in Singapore, you had research in Malaysia, you had research in Korea, that they let go, and China, same thing, just numbers came out to this. So it went back up again. Then guess what happens? Countries locked down again, right? So this could be a horrible situation. So you don't want to be there, so don't count on it, okay? You need to become expert at remote selling. Is really we're talking about here is what is happening. Video conferencing best practices, again, we actually part of our virtual program, we talk about how to do this effective. Invest in a good, as much as you can, a mic, a camera, a light. I'm standing here, I've got a front light and window here, so I've got natural light. I'm standing, I got a cool mic. This is where's the camera? Here we go. This is a very good for Ghaderi is very good camera. Mic for podcasts and things. Whether we can afford. That's not expensive. Pay attention to your outfit. Make sure you're looking somewhat sharp. Obviously. Sign up for video conferencing. Again, most companies offer it for free. Teams for Microsoft is free for 6 months. We actually added more licenses because they're free for 6 months, right? Zoom, everybody has a free one, right? Use that. Become comfortable with presenting on video. Definitely you got to practice. I don't care how old timer you are. You can't be older than me. You need to make sure you practice, become comfortable with video. We started doing video email campaigns, okay? It's very powerful and customers notice it more. I actually already had feedback. People thought that was interesting. We're doing video on that, okay? And of course, just a note, don't ignore security. Don't ignore cybersecurity. Everybody working remotely, it's easy to forget about security. There are dramatic increase in phishing emails and things because people are at home, they're bored, they click on things that shouldn't, they're not connected to the internal security system, so it's dangerous, okay? Any questions? Sorry, Nicole, I'm just going to stop and ask one more time. Any questions, thoughts?
All right, yeah, there's another question here. So first one is creating an alternative sales channel while online.
Right. Okay.
Then the second one is what are the framework to get effective pipelines?
Okay, good. Actually, we're going to talk about the second one. The first one, yeah, absolutely. I've had a number of clients who they're so busy right now because all these retailers, they had the brick and mortar stores they have store before, and my customers try to sell them like e-commerce and things like that, they say, oh, no, we're okay, we don't need it, it's too much hassle. But now suddenly they can't sell, they have no revenue, they're calling and say, oh, please, we need to have our e-commerce. So definitely having that online thing is very effective. I'm working with some clients who actually do that. We're helping them build the right message and put in the right package. Important thing is have the right package for these companies to start off on an alternative, online presence. Definitely you can reach out to me. I'll provide you more information. On the second one about framework for prospecting, I'll touch on that shortly, actually. And again, I wrote the book on it. That's actually the winning formula is the one that we do. We actually we guarantee success rate. Is a high impact prospecting technique that we use. Biggest company in the world, Microsoft, Oracle, Salesforce, Tableau, SAP, all these companies use very similar program that I execute on many of them. We guarantee 20% success rate on a cold call, 20% success rate. A typical, anybody has done prospecting, has done like cold calling or hired a telemarketing company to do it, the best you can get is about 1%. The best. The most professional ones you hire, maybe they give you 1% success rate. We give 20% guaranteed, okay? So as the technology, the technique matters, okay? In fact, when it comes to remote selling, as I said, we're doing this virtual selling mastery academy. is really built around how to empower the people. Again, before it was like an inside sales thing, but now field sales cannot see the customer. Guess what? They need to learn how to sell virtually. And this program is multiple sessions around different topics. As I said, around like prospecting, how to have effective presentation online, that kind of thing we do help the companies. I want to ask you this. I think this is the last question I'm asking you. Do me a huge favor. Please type in, what is one thing you are struggling with selling remotely? If you're selling, what is that one thing you're struggling to sell remotely? Please share your thought. I'm going to check the time, see how we're doing on time. Whoa, I'll be good. Come on, guys, please give me some. Throw me a bone. Solar systems. Ah, that's interesting. Okay. So what is one thing you're struggling, what is one skill set or something? Oh, it's for home. Okay. Hair salon. Okay, good. Oh, what was it? I was just seeing this person. Okay, that was a, it was actually this company who did a haircut delivery service. They actually come to your house and do a haircut. It was actually an entrepreneur, young entrepreneur in Malaysia actually was doing this. The business model he was looking for funding for to go do this thing. But now become very popular. Thanks. I'll definitely look at these things, provide some feedback. That's great. We are not able to judge if the client is, okay, I'll read that. Definitely, anytime it comes to judging what the client is real or not, pure and simple, you need to know how to ask questions, effective questions properly to flush it out. It's about questioning technique, okay? And also having a standard framework of qualifying. So we actually have a standard framework. It's like 6 categories that you have questions you answer about the customer from the first meeting. Immediately, you go through that to see if that person is qualified, if it's your customer or not. If it's not, move on. Okay, that frees you up to go do other things. Absolutely. I'll definitely look at these and I'll provide more feedback. Thank you all. When you share, when you actually you get out what you put into it. If you're sharing things, it means that you want to do something and you will get there. And I'll be glad to help. Okay. This is an interesting thing because I was talking to a company. Actually, it was out of Malaysia. They had a decent sized company and they had like 15 or plus salespeople. And I said, does your sales team know how to sell remotely? And he just surprised him. He said, oh, no. It's like, well, how do you expect them to be successful? And he says, oh, we tell them to go on and sell. But it's like, well, they don't know how to sell remotely. How do you expect them to succeed? So please think about it for business owners, leaders here on the call. Just telling people go sell is not going to make it happen. Just like telling salespeople go sell, bring more revenue, just like saying, hey, you don't look healthy, go get more health. That's not going to give you more healthy. You need to have behaviors and activities to get you health. You have to exercise, you have to eat right. That gets you health. You can't get health. Again, you need to think about it. Number 3, become a social seller. I'm a big on this because I speak on this quite a bit. You cannot be a successful salesperson and reach your potential, especially in B2B, business-to-business selling. You absolutely cannot reach your potential if you're not a social seller, if you're not an effective social seller. Okay, it doesn't matter how much you're selling. If you're selling 10 billion, if you're actually a social seller, without social selling, if you do social selling, you do 15 billion, okay? Use social media to add 3 things. You want to add more people to your network, you want to add more opportunities, and you want to add more information about your clients and your prospects. Social media is a great way for you to learn about your clients and your prospects and input that into your system, take that information in and use it. Great time for you to engage people. Again, remember, people are bored sitting at home. Those people you're trying to reach, they don't have gatekeepers. You can reach out to them, connect with them, start building opportunities. Focus on identifying the right audience. You have time. If you're B2B, of course, LinkedIn and Twitter is probably the best thing you can use. B2C, of course, you're going to be much broader space, Facebook and all the other ones. Definitely you want to identify the right audience. Where are my audience? It goes back to that first thing I said about the figuring out who is your ideal customer. Where is my ideal customer? Which platform do they use? Then you focus on those and make sure you identify the right audience. And for example, LinkedIn has a sales navigator. It gives you a lot more information, and you can search through databases and get much more focused on who you're looking for. Build your brand as a client advocate and subject matter expert. As I said, I pointed out a couple of articles I do. Posting those articles gives me leverage. So when I reach out, when I have a call right now, say, hey, check out my article. So this guy maybe knows something. You may not agree with it, but at least he knows something. It's important. If you're trying to get again, it pushes away that whole pricing discussion and discounting thing because you add value, okay? And the best tool for listening to your customers. I can't stress enough. We have half-a-day workshops, full-day workshops for salespeople and managers and leaders, help them become better at social selling, especially for frontline salespeople. You must be able to use these tools, okay? And leverage many tools. Like there's literally hundreds of free tools available for you to manage your social media activities. It helps you scale. You can automate many things. There are applications you can use for free. I've used forever, like Hootsuite or something. It allows you to manage multiple platforms under one umbrella. So if you're doing like Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, whatever, all these things you're using, you can manage it under one platform instead of having to manage multiple things one by one. There are tools to make it faster, automated. There are lots of content finding tools that allows you don't have to go out and hunt for articles. I ask the client, hey, what are the topics you want to hear? I'll put in there, for example, information on AI, artificial intelligence. And any article comes in from these publications, I get a notification. I can scan them and send it to a client if I want to, okay? So there's tons of tools out there if you actually look, okay? Number phone, very important. Pick up the phone. That's the winning formula thing. This is now the best time to engage by a phone because many of the people you're trying to reach, executives, owners, before you hit their gatekeeper, their PA, the receptionist, they're no longer there. They're at home. They're at home, either doing homeschooling or being bored out of their mind, and their title doesn't matter. It doesn't help right now. They're more they're more human right now. They don't have an ego as much. They're at home just like you. They will answer the phone. Use this time to actually engage, have a human-to-human conversation. I've noticed every call I have right now, last 2-3 weeks, they actually go way beyond the scheduled time because these guys don't have back-to-back meetings anymore, right? So you can actually have a human-to-human conversation, okay? And one tip, at this time especially, always lead with empathy. That's where you start. How are things going? Just not to spend hours and talk about it, but just show that empathy, showing that you care, okay? Phone is the best, fastest path to success in sales. Always believe, and it still is, despite whatever anybody says, the reality is phone is the fastest, best way to succeed. Because with the telephone, you get immediate response, immediately qualify, is he or she my customer or not? If not, move on. When you send an email, what do? You wait for 2 weeks, you send another email, wait another 2 weeks. You don't know. You don't even know if they opened it or anything. You phone call, you can hear them, you can see their tone, you can see if they're interested, you can hear that, and you can judge quickly and move on, okay? And you can show your passion, what you believe in. If you don't have your confidence in your message, that's your problem. It's not the customer's problem. You may have the right solution. You need to build the right message to deliver it and show them that you can help them, okay? Learn how to prospect the right way. Warning, 99% of you guys probably doing it wrong. Not probably, I'm pretty sure you're doing it wrong. Prospecting is something that almost no salesperson know how to do. Prospecting, because I guarantee you about 80 to 90% chance you're talking to the wrong person. Another 80-90% of you guys do that. Plus, you actually, when you do a cold call, you try to sell something. You don't sell on prospecting. You're not selling in prospecting. If you're doing those two, you're out of there immediately within the first 10 seconds. So there's no point. So again, learn how to prospect. Read the book, okay? Reach out to me, I'll give you the book. Figure out how many calls, emails, in-mails you need to do to reach the number you need. one of the tools I offer, I'll touch on it quickly later, it allows you for you to put in, what is my revenue target or number of deals, whatever your target is, how many calls, how many emails, how many emails I have to do to get to that number. Actually, it calculates it for you. For example, say my target is $1 million. Okay, how many calls do I have to make? If my average deal size is 10K, how many deals do I need? Okay, to get that number of deals, how many calls do I have? How many opportunities I need in the pipeline to get to that? Maybe my pipeline is 3x. Okay, so times 3. And you go work it down the line. And you can get that tool for free after we're done. Build the engagement process using, and again, don't just use phone, use email, social media, phone, combination. Number 5 is build your plan and execute. Again, Churchill said, he who fails to plan is planning to fail. It's all about planning. You definitely want to plan and execute. You can't control results. You cannot control revenue. You can't control your activities to get to the revenue. So therefore, what you want to do, make sure you actually plan your activities. Spend time to review your business plan for the year, see what needs updating. For example, revenue, you need to update your revenue targets, your profit goals, your budgets, sales targets for reps. I mean, like, if your revenue target was $1 million, I talked to a customer and said, oh, the revenue target for a salesperson was $2 million. And I said, that was like January, right? And how far are you from reaching your overall company target? They said, oh, we only achieved 10%. Okay, so I said 90% to go. So I said, okay, seems like you're not going to hit your number, right? We're going to miss it by a big number. I said, well, have you revised your salesperson's target from 2 million to maybe something that's more reasonable? He said, no. I said, well, what's the point of setting a target that you know they're not going to achieve, that only gives them a sense of failure? And on top of that, if they fail, and you say, well, I'm not going to penalize them because I know the situation, but then what you're doing, you're allowing failure and not achieving numbers be acceptable, which is not good, right? Again, you want to look at those things. These are the kind of things we're doing with a lot of our customers right now, helping them do all this stuff. Compensation and staffing, target market. Do you want to adjust your target market, solutions, marketing planning, go-to-market strategy? These are the things you want to look at, right? You want to review these things, okay? Now, Q&A, I guess, please, by all means, put any question you have. If I have your email, I'll promise you get to you within 24, I'm sure I'll get to you within 24 hours if there are not that many questions. You can ask now as well, please put it. And just the 3 tools I'm gonna offer. Anybody who fills out, I think Nicole or Sammy, did you put the link in there? Do me a favor, if you just take a minute, I think that'll take you about a minute or so to answer those questions. If you fill out this questionnaire, it's just a simple survey, give me some feedback on what you thought. If you give me your feedback, it asks for your email. When you put in your email, I'll make sure you guys receive, someone will send you this 3 things. One, the one on the left is 10 tips on how to build an effective LinkedIn profile. The one in the middle is a calculator I talked about that tells you, this one here. Sorry, I'm pointing with my finger, you don't see my finger. The middle one is a little calculator, little calculator that allows you to figure out what, as a company or as an individual, you can do it either way. And what are the activities you gotta do and to figure out how much you need to do. And then on the right is a media plan. It's a simple 1-pager media plan. For example, what are the top 3 channels I wanna use? Why? And what should I do? And what's my plan? What are my goals? It's a very simple 1-pager. It really helps you give some perspective. Now, having said that, I'll stop now. If anybody has any questions, by all means, Nicole or Sammy, let me know. And if you just please fill out the survey, click on a button, takes you about a minute.
Yeah. We do have a few questions here. Maybe you can move over to your green bar, on top of green bar, then you can click on the Q&A box, then you can check all the questions there.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That would make sense.
There's quite a few. I might need you to have a look on it.
Okay. All right, let me see. Let me go back. Oh, how do I do this? Okay, Q&A. Oh, here we go. We got the Q&A. All right. Here we go. Okay.
Can you see it?
Yep. I can see the questions. Thank you. Let me just make it big. When I achieve the sales target this year, it's because I wish to believe that we will survive. I strongly believe that the attitude matters, but I also see that the pandemic, yeah. Yes. Right, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, I think this is a question from Elida. That's an excellent point. I mean, I've had this happen that many customers using this as saying, oh, well, it's a pandemic, I can't do that. Really, the question becomes, I mean, if you're trying to actually, what you're saying that you want to figure out how get them to stop behaving this way, to actually be more responsive, not just use it as an excuse to pay, is really about, you know, I had to do that with a couple of clients actually, to just say, look, you know, I understand we all going through the same thing, right? And we definitely want to make sure, that, you know, your business survives. We don't want you to actually give us money if you don't have it. But at the same time, obviously you're paying your bills, you're paying some bills, and here's the situation we are in. And really make sure they understand that, you know, because for them not paying you, that actually has a much greater impact on not just you, but also all the other clients, that makes you less competent to do it. There are some actually templates we actually created and some of our clients use that we help them draft some of those things. I'll be glad to share with you some of those. I'm going to take your name and I'll look for your email to make sure I get you more clear, you know, the more detailed answer to convince buyers, clients to why it matters that you're more. Yeah, definitely to convince them that this definitely is important for them to invest right now, is because really the point is this is a downtime. When the business starts, they can't really, there's a bunch of actually studies done that when there's a recession or there's a financial situation like this happen, everybody goes back to school, start learning things and focusing on improving themselves professionally and personally, because once they come out of this, it's actually, they can actually have a much better opportunity ahead. For example, if you go to US market, anytime there's a recession happen in the country, all the master MBA programs, they get filled up because people say, well, it looks like it's a recession, I'm going to lose my job. So it's a good time for me to go and get an MBA and come out and double my salary, right? So it provides a great opportunity for them to do that. Absolutely. There's definitely a lot of things you can do with that. Let me see, what's always useful for sales? Definitely, I'll talk about sales. If you want to know more about specific things, I'll mention a few topics around sales. Lim, definitely I can provide you more detail. What are the best ways to learn current? Depending on what you're in, if you're selling and if you have a particular industry, I definitely encourage you to learn more about that industry. If you don't have an industry in mind, I really recommend you focus on who's my best customer. And maybe a lot of times you'd be selling to the wrong market because they happen to be the first client that walked into your door. So you continue to serve them, but they may not be your ideal client. They might be a really big headache for you. It's a good time to reevaluate who's your good customer and go after them. Alternative sales channel via online. Absolutely. I mean, sales channel online, definitely the e-commerce thing. There's lots of course, places like Shopee and Lazada and these places you can sell through or establish your own, your own e-commerce site. I have 3 or 4 clients who actually are providing those packages for going online. And they've been very, very busy because a lot of companies are asking for it. What are the framework to get effective pipelines? Definitely, I would say getting an effective pipeline. I'm not sure what industry you're in, what business you're in. Definitely the winning formula is really worth looking at. If you send me an email, Win10, I'll be glad to share with you some of the resources for you, free. Just I'll send you some of the resources. You can take a look. I have a bunch of, in fact, I have a bunch of, if you go to my LinkedIn, I have a bunch of articles in the past around prospecting, and I can provide you more. Mr. Gwen, my old friend, do you have a quick question? Do you have a quick questions or prospecting questions? Okay, good. Let's see. To help you if you're talking to survivors. Okay, good. To help you if you're talking to a survivalist. Well, yeah, if you're talking to a survivalist or proactive, first thing I want to do is if they say, look, I'm not buying anything, we're not spending any money. And my first reaction is like, hey, I'm not asking for money. We just want to have a conversation. I totally understand. First of all, the message is, look, when you say you're shutting down, does that mean you're going out of business or you're just slowing down the business? If you're just slowing down the business, I totally understand that. And again, this goes back to that objection handling framework that we train people on, companies on. It's a framework for how to effectively handle objections. And this is an objection. Oh, we're not spending your money. We have no money. So I totally understand that. I hear you. I'm with you on this. I don't agree with it maybe, but I understand it. But what does that mean exactly when you say, does that mean you're shut down going out of business, or you're just slowing down for the next 3 months or 6 months? And then if that's the case, then let's talk about, how can we, when you do come out, there might be some things you want to look at that will help you ramp up faster and become, speed up faster. How can we help you prepare for that? Again, if you have a solution that can help them, it's like, yeah, I'm not asking for right now. We just want to have a conversation to actually stay top of mind. If somebody who says, here's another tip. Somebody says, they're not doing anything right now. I said, look, Gwen, look, I totally understand what you're saying, but let me ask you this. I know we can help you this XYZ, right? So between now and 3 months from now, I actually did that to a client in Sydney about a week ago. And I said, that's no problem. We can do that. But just want to make sure that we stay on top of mind between now and then. What kind of information are you interested in seeing? Is there anything particular that I can provide for you? In his case, was about, is there any particular, market, industry information that you need that we can provide for you to make sure that we stay in? I don't want to keep calling you every week. I don't want to bug you. I don't want to waste your time. So is there any topic that you'd like to hear about between now and then? So then you go back and say, okay, I'm interested in, more about this company that's cybersecurity, more about what are the competitors doing, the big merger acquisitions. Say, great, thank you. And I have it in my, in a couple of my apps that I use for my social media content procurement. That you can say, I'm looking for articles on this topic, and it automatically feeds them to you. And then I can glance, if it's relevant, I just email it to them. Just stay top of mind. Those are the things I want to have a very honest discussions, and that will really help me to put things at rest and just move on to other customers, for the prospects. Will there be? Well, look, anonymous attendee. If you actually send me your information, I'll send it to you for free. Well, I have the digital format. I can send you a digital format for free. Technical skills are good, depending on what you're doing technically, since everyone is freezing hiring. What can a recruitment firm sell? Usually for them, it's going to be a few things about restructuring. For recruitment company, Eddie, I mean, I know many companies are doing, the recruitment companies know a lot about salaries and compensations, those kind of things. They can definitely help to figure out what are the strategies to better figure out your staffing. Every company I know that I have size anywhere like, 20, 30, 50 people and up, they're looking at those things. They're actually putting like a sort of scaling their people, like, batching people, which ones should be let go first if things don't get back. A lot of companies need help figuring out how to best find out who are the right people for us to put in different baskets. That'll be more of a consulting gig. And I know bigger companies I worked with actually have special consulting service for that actually help companies do that. When it comes to recruitment, the other thing is about understanding what are the qualifications that companies are looking for, and how can you provide them with better qualified people. I know a lot of companies have frozen hiring, but definitely those are some of the services I can think of. I'm not sure which team you talk about. Please let us have the name of tool. I'm not sure which. You talk about social media tools. There are gazillions of them. I have some of them on my articles in LinkedIn. If I have your name, I'll be glad to send it to you. And yeah, there's the slides. You're going to get a copy of the slides. I think they're going to send it to you. I'll send it to you. Thank you, Lila. Thank you. I appreciate it. But definitely do reach out to me. I'll be glad to provide more information. A solution for you. Please email me, Brian. Okay. Talent Research International. That's good. Okay. Oh, we got somebody there connecting. Okay. Thanks, guys. Well, good looks good. If you do have any other questions, please do let me know. I will be glad to provide you some feedback. Any other thoughts, questions? Oh, let me see this one.
There's another questions I'm afraid you missed out.
Okay, so yeah, if you fill out the survey, I'll be glad to get back to you, and we'll be talking to you all soon. All right?
Yep. Yeah. Here's one question. What is the best email address to reach you for further inquiry?
Oh, it's Mark at. Oh, I thought it was the last page. Was it? Mark at Vital Strategy. Sorry, it was the last page. There we go. Mark at vital-strategies.com.
Exabytes. Grow your business online.